I understand that as well. I have a partner who works with the homeless outreach team. He'll address that stuff a little bit, but next time, we do these about every 3 or so, 4 months or so. Next time, I'll make sure I reach out to them and try to get them. I can't promise. Try. CHP always comes out. They're great. They'll be talking in just a minute. So next time I'll reach out. Hopefully we'll have a here that we can ask some questions. Okay. So myself, my partner right here, Gabriel Rodriguez, and our sergeant, we are on the problem-oriented policing team. And so what we do is, you have a problem neighbor, there's a problem business, there's a problem corner, there's a problem car. You send us the information, we start researching it. We try to get into the house, into the thing, arrest the people, take the drugs, take the bad guys, everyone to jail, okay? That's the long and short of it. Some of these things, these quality of life issues, broaden us to different areas. They bring in code enforcement, they bring in the district attorney. We reach out to those people, we use them as entities and resources in order to help us help the problem you have. Sometimes the solution is not great. Like we have some neighbors over here talking about a neighbor that likes to have a restaurant in their backyard all night long. Sometimes the resolution isn't what you're going to want to hear, but I promise one thing of complete honesty, we'll tell you everything we know, when we know, and how we know it. So that is the short distance. Does anyone know how to get a hold of us? No. So let me get more specific with that. So there's emergency, which is 911, then there's a non-emergency. Everyone know the non-emergency number? 874-5115. Okay. So if you call 911, but I got this guy on the corner, I don't like him, he's sitting there and he's gross, they're going to be like, you got to call the non-emergency number, and you continue arguing with them, they're just going to hang up on you. It's federally funded, it's federally watched, so they have to. So don't be mad at them.
Or they tell us you're on the way.
What's that?
Or they tell us you're on the way and you never show up.
Oh no, I can address that. I can address that real quick. So by orders of the sheriff, if you call and it's dispatched, someone addresses it. What that means is different per call, right? And we would have to look into the individual one and what that means. And so we're able to look into those individual ones if you have problems, and that's where you would email or call us, leave the message, we'll get back to you. Your contact info is in this brochure in the back. Oh, thank you. All right, yep, handy brochures in the back.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then we can look into those individual things. Okay, that's the long and short of the problem-oriented policing team. Now, I want to be respectful for everybody's time. We have about an hour. There's a few people that want to talk, but I could take a couple questions right now if anyone has some big ones. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know about the assaults that have been happening in Rio Linda.
Well,
5 to be, is what I'm hearing now. 3 have been, is what I have heard.
So that's one of the ones that maybe a little later on we can grab a computer because
well,
it's...
I can pull it up right now. Are you referencing the sexual assault?
Yes.
Okay. So there was one sexual assault, and it kind of morphed into when patrol goes, then investigations come out. It happened on December 10th.
Yes.
And the young lady was walking home, and was a stranger. We have an arrest warrant for that subject.
4 strangers.
Huh?
4 strangers.
What was that?
There were 4 strangers.
4 strangers. Well, so all we have is the one on December 10th. We have an arrest warrant. The suspect fled to Mexico, and our fugitive team is right now actively, we're working with the Mexican government to extradite him back here. He know where he is. He has not been taken into custody. Sometimes it's difficulty for us to work with them and getting the governor's warrant to bring him back to be extradited. But the one on December 10th, the minute we will get him. And that's something that Mexico is very good with us, and they do on sexual assault cases. He will come back and he will go to prison.
Can someone tell me when the Christmas parade was this year?
December 9th.
Was it the 9th? Okay.
So that's that, and I know that there's been several calls regarding that, and they're kind of blending the 9th, the Christmas parade, and that one together. I spoke to our sexual assault sergeant today, and we only have one reported a sexual assault, and it happened on December 10th. And that person will be arrested, and the DA's office, we work with the DA's office, and we are beyond good on that.
So you're saying the rest of them is just rumors?
It's just rumor mill. And they're like, it was coming home from the parade, coming home from the bar, it's the same person, same incident, just, pass the note.
Okay.
What are you going to do about these side shows? I mean, these guys do the donuts at the arches and then 7-Eleven. What And you, it's, I guess CHP
It
is
is.
the ones that are gonna have to do that.
And China, he'll come out, in just a minute. Well, you said whenever we'll describe what they're doing, we can have that. So I don't wanna just
I mean,
truck
what are
around.
you guys doing to help stop this? I mean,
Like, in short, and I'd like to get into a little bit longer, in a few minutes, but in short, we're working with the team, with the highway patrol. What was the last op that was happening with highway patrol?
They're constantly doing operations. They did a big one. It was just a little bit south in San Joaquin County. And I know that unfortunately it's farther from here. However, a lot of those individuals travel. Those same individuals there are going down to the Bay Area that are coming up here in Sacramento. They did a big one down in San Joaquin County. I think they impounded 90 plus, almost 100 cars. Those cars are not getting released because they're evidence from what I understand. And I know that there's more operations coming.
They're even moving out to small neighborhoods, because Bill's Market is getting them out.
So the plan of attack of that is difficult because they decide on a place, right? Sometimes the decision is through Facebook or some other social media thing, and it's easy for us to track that. When it comes to like text messaging, like all of you are my friends, and we just, hey, we're at a new spot, it's hard for us to get ahead of that. It's not impossible. We have to wait for someone to call. When they call, then they surround in. And like Highway Patrol will jump in with better answers to that because that's really their repertoire, and we assist them. Make sense?
Yeah.
You know, it's a game for them. It's a
He lives
game.
next door
I
to
live next door
7-Eleven.
Yeah.
It's a big game.
And one of them happened right down the street over here. It was terrible.
Why don't you guys just take a fire hose?
It's kind of illegal. I like your idea, though. You know.
More so than what we're doing.
But I think you guys do have to call these things in. I think you, and just
Yes,
notice,
cameras.
but just listen, notice in the last year, like with the change in administration with the sheriff's office, Sheriff Cooper is enforcing laws that are directly affecting your community. And I promise you, we are not having the homelessness problem that the city is, but again, it's a big county, one of the biggest counties in California, and we are hammering it. And we
I
will-
will say,
and-
since the last one where they really tore up the 7-Eleven, they're having to.
And the hot team, the district attorney's office working with you, you have to know that we are dealing with this all over the county, and we're done, dusting these bad guys off. We will enforce the laws that are quality of life issues that are affecting you guys, and like, but again, but everybody's like with the stranger rate, why is he in jail? There is a process, and like with the laws in California being as bad as they are, I apologize, but like the DA's office and the sheriff's office are great partners, and there's a bunch of steps, but we are getting there, and I promise you, we're making things better.
But this is our new captain, Captain Gordo Stone from the North Patrol.
Steve.
Would you call
And we are.
Sort of like when they started like parking all by my house.
Driveway at Bullwink.
Or non-emergency.
Takeout at Bullwink. And while we were sitting there, I noticed a line of cars. Now, I have this, that's a sideshow car. I know that's a sideshow car. And I saw a whole line of them parked facing the creamery and them. There were several guys leaning against the cars, a young woman with a baby they were holding up, they were taking pictures, and some people came out of the creamery and some other places, and I told my husband, I said, that's a sideshow, those guys are going to a sideshow. Could I have called? Could I have said? I mean, I have no proof, nothing.
So but you have
And
to.
then they all ripped out and all at once headed west, and I
You
know,
should-
and
you should
later
always-
that day, there was a huge one in back of them.
You should always call, and just know this, the sideshows are not our expertise. We are, like trying to be a force multiplier with the CHP and tackle these crimes, but just think of it at our level. Yes, you have all these cars together, they're a nuisance, but they're in a car.
I know, they are doing it.
It's a new thing that, and CHP has done a great job. We're finding a way to, take their cars, not get them back, and like, we're affecting them, but again, you have to work with us, and like, it's not just happening here, you put them on Facebook, okay, everybody from.
But they're parking in front of our house, and there's nothing we can do.
But my
But if
question
you
is,
go out there and
should
do
I
something,
have
then we go to
called and
jail.
Yes.
said, there's
Yes,
a
you
line of what I know are sideshow cars, and they just left heading west.
And in that way, we'll advise San Joaquin, or we'll advise,
Yolo.
West Sac, or wherever they're headed, we'll let them know, so.
I didn't know whether I should call or not.
I mean, that's what we're paid to do.
Yeah.
I actually want to address the same, like the same area where she was talking. I live in the apartments that's right behind Bullwinkle, next to the mostly empty parking lot in the evening times, for the Rio Linda gym. It's very often that cars go through there and they're doing donuts and stuff. I have 4 windows that face that parking lot. Every single time, I don't remember the last time it didn't happen, rocks hit my window every time. I've called it in numerous times. This has been going on for like 8 years. I call and I get like a cluster where I call every single time, and like I don't ever see anybody show up, so I get frustrated. I stop calling. Eventually it adds up again. I'll call again. I get a cluster where I'm calling constantly. Don't ever see anybody show up. Like, so I stop. It's just repeating itself. It's been 8 years. Like, is there a way that maybe like a recommendation can be made to the property owner to put something in the parking lot, whether it's like parking stall stoppers, like the little concrete pieces, posts, something to maybe deter it? I mean, I know you can't make these people stop, but recommendations to help the business stop it would be wonderful.
There's a couple questions I saw there, and the first one's about reporting. Okay, let's say you call the non-emergency number for the sheriff's department or 911. 911 is used for life and death right now emergencies, okay? And you call about a non-emergency, we're gonna probably tell you to call the non-emergency number. You start describing a sideshow, I'm gonna hit the CHP button. It's a button. I hit it and it takes you right to CHP, and then they'll take over for the sideshow part. And in just a minute, we'll have our CHP representative bring that up. The other one, yes, so there might be something that we can do regarding that business, but I would need a little more from you, so maybe we can connect later. And I can give you info, you can send it to me, and then I could talk with the district attorney and maybe code enforcement about what they need to do in order to stop that.
I also know that there's at least a half a dozen cars that'll do it on the one side down at the end of the building, and then they'll park and they go into the gym.
Yeah.
So they do it on their way out. They'll come back out to their car, they'll do it, and then they'll leave.
So when there's patterns, it's easy for us, right? And I have some friends over with the California policing team on the CHP side, and we can connect with them. And if there's a pattern that we can follow, they'll wait. They'll wait.
The rain, absolutely.
So let's connect a little bit later, okay? And then we'll see what we can do about it. Okay. So
Since we're doing things that are going on to your agenda, mine is not about the sideshows. Mine is about the upcoming summer party times when the noise is loud, high level, and then the people start leaving, the traffic, the alcohol consumption on the road right in front of us, the bottles in our yards, and of course the people who are yelling at us, mind your own business. I think that's what they're saying. And the noise just continues. We call you, we call the dispatch area, and they say, this is non-emergency, there are 3 stabbings. Well, it's emergency to us when we have people that are threatening us physically. It's emergency to us because we should not have to challenge and protect ourselves with guns when they threaten us. It's just wrong. And yet we're told there are 3 stabbings.
So
who do we call then?
you're correct in that it's unacceptable behavior, and everyone here will agree with you on that.
Who do we call?
You call us, but this is, I know. Call us and we get the same thing.
3 stabbings. You're low on the totem pole.
I hear you.
We'll
I
see
get
you.
that all the time.
There's
We'll
a-
see you at 3 or 4 in the morning.
And
Everybody's
that,
gone home.
and that, there's a reason for that, and I don't want to interrupt, I apologize, but
That's okay.
we like a lot of other entities are down about 100 people. It affects everything, and so that staffing level makes it affectionate on how we respond to calls. So when they tell you there's 3 stabbings, they take a bit of time. There's a lot involved with those, and it occupies everybody. Unfortunately, when people call in to 911, to the non-emergency, whichever one it is, the call for service regarding whatever penal code it might be puts it into a bracket of seniority, right? One is highly, like someone's getting stabbed, that's a very life and death thing, that puts it number
Should we say
1.
they have knives?
No, we don't. There's a problem with that though, because that's not being truthful. And
We
so,
don't know if they do or not.
no, you're correct. I can almost guarantee everyone does have a knife, because I carry a pocket knife since I was like 15, right? So you're not wrong with that. It's just unfortunately, right, with this, when it comes to those things, unless there's knowns, we can only work with what's known. And if there happen to be 3 stabbings, it takes up a bit of time. People will still show up, but that's That's where we are right now. We are actively recruiting, grabbing people from everywhere. We have academies going all the time in order to fill those spots. But it's just attrition is just one of those things. Right?
Many of us are just tired of having no shows.
No,
And although I'm willing to give the new group a try,
appreciate
it's
that.
very, very frustrating
100%.
to be told, we'll be there. And then they pass by and they say, we didn't see any disturbance.
Because they showed up 3 hours later.
Let me just explain. I feel this is going to be an ongoing like a thing. Like our calls for service, we have an allocated amount of officers, and again, like all of California, we get what we get, and we're going to do the best job that we can with the people, men and women that we have out there. And I promise you, they are doing a good job. And they may get to your call 4 hours later, and that's the best that we can do. And I ask you, you be honest and be like, hey, if there's a knife, there's a knife. If there's not a knife, please don't do that to us. Because, and I'm just not saying you would, but we will get there. And I promise you, you may not see them when they drive away. And I realize everybody has families, and these are quality of life issues that like our POP team, like we can work with code enforcement on some of these things, but you have to call in. And you may not see them, but I promise you these men and women are coming. And it may be 6 hours later, but they are coming, and and they will drive by, and they'll be like, nope, there's no cars doing donuts, because they're going to go to the next call. They stack, and they're just going call to call to call to call. And they do care about you, and it's a matter of like,
I guarantee you, we sit out in the yard and watch for them to call. We know what time they came by. And we know they did not go in the backyard where there are 50 cars in the backyard because they can't be seen by the road.
I'm not sure what that one is. I'm not sure.
Okay, but what's the issue if it's the same people over and over, the same parties at the same places, you call every weekend, you call, you're sick of it because you heard it from 3 o'clock on, and by 10 you are so over.
So those are the people that names, addresses, cars can be directly related to our POP teams, and that we can address some of these issues. Again, like we can do only what we can deal with. Like we have all the north area, and we're gonna get to every single one of your issues. But again, it's a balancing act of like what will be the priority today. It's not the priority tomorrow.
You will not see them.
What if you videotape their license plate? Does any of that ring?
If they're driving, like doing a sideshow?
Yeah.
Look,
Or they're
that's
parking in
something
front of our
like
house.
Yes.
And they're throwing all
Here,
their shit everywhere.
before we ask other questions, my name is Daniel Webb. I'm a sergeant. I'm the POP sergeant in the North Sacramento CHP office. So let me address the sideshow issue real quick. As far as plates, yes, we can use the plates. We will actively write a warrant. We don't need the driver, we need the car. We'll get a warrant signed. Might take a minute, but we will track the car down, and we'll impound their car, and we'll take it away from them. But we do need a plate. The sideshows are very, very hard to stay on top of. Technology, we can say our stuff's scrambled, it's not. They can tell when we're coming, they're listening to us. That when our airplanes and their helicopters go up, they've got their numbers for their airplane, and they know exactly where they are at any given time. So unless somebody's not paying attention, it is even very hard to get them with air operations. We did do a strike force down in Stockton, San Joaquin County. They did make several arrests, and they impounded roughly 100 cars. And now all those people want their cars back. Just watching a sideshow is a misdemeanor.
Because those kids come out of the woodwork when they're.
So I mean, it can be very punitive, and most of the people where the highway patrol, where we get them normally is, a lot of things are very hard to prosecute unless we have video or something. But once we start checking their car for illegal emissions and things like that, we can send them to a referee, and that's gonna be more than anything that they're gonna pay in court. And they have to take all that neat modified stuff off. But we are trying to deal with the sideshows. We work very well with the sheriff's department, and we are just like them. We have limited resources, so we have to kind of work together to try to do the best we can. But I've come out several times. Sometimes it's been just me, right over by Bullwinkle's. And there's 60 cars, and then they're all going in every direction, and we can only catch one. So we do the best we can with what we got, but you can always call it in. And as far as that party, call them in as drunk drivers. And if there's units available, particularly on graveyards, we have to go and respond if it's a possible drunk driver.
That's good to know, because in the past, during the summer, It's been nonstop. It's not one party. It's one party.
If we can talk afterwards, because I can try to do saturation patrols on weekend nights and try to do DUI patrols, but what the captain and what these guys are saying is absolutely true. It's limited resources, and they get stacked up on calls. We get stacked up on calls, and everybody's kind of scrambling, doing the best we can. But it's not that none of us don't care. Trust me, we care. And it's very frustrating for us too.
No,
So.
I understand you're saying you're taking the vehicles. If you can actually get a driver that's in a vehicle, maybe the laws need to change and just start going after the driver's license. Taking the driver's license.
If we can catch them, we
Give
can.
them points to where it's gonna cost them an arm and a leg for insurance. And I know they're still gonna drive, but then the penalty will get more and more and more.
No, exactly.
to catch these.
If we can catch them, then yes.
Yes.
You
But
guys
a lot
have,
of
you
times
guys
they
have,
can't.
you have to think about this too. We're having people shoot, like, I
Yes.
shoot this gentleman, where before you would go to prison. And,
I understand.
Yeah.
Everybody picking on me.
and now you're going to house arrest, or the laws are changing where, I'm gonna be honest with you, we don't have the backing for a lot of the quality of life issues, but that's the things that Sheriff Cooper is addressing, and also the CHP, homelessness, like human trafficking, but like again, so, like when we were all kids, if you shot somebody, like you're going to prison for the rest of your life. Now they'll be out next year, and they'll never even see the pen. They'll go to, and it's not the DA's office. They're all about us. It's the laws are changing that are tying our hands behind our back that we can't do anything. I just shot you. You can't raise your hand.
Take a nap.
So there's other people I'd like to introduce, and I know there's a lot of questions. So if we could direct the questions a little bit towards the individual, the entity, and then if we stop a little bit earlier, we can answer the rest of them. I would like the time so they could talk about what they do. Everyone okay with that? Okay. Are you done? Okay.
Sure.
This is my partner who works with the homeless outreach team.
I'm Deputy Tinley Seitz. I work for the homeless outreach team. I do patrol North Highlands and Rio Linda on a daily basis. Going out and dealing with homeless camps is my thing. I'll start it off. Homelessness in and of itself is not a crime. If people want help, we have ways to get them in touch with help with the county that has programs, be it public or private, to get these people help with rehab, be it housing, getting a license, anything like that. The big concerns that a lot of you probably see in these homeless camps, the trespassing, the theft, the vandalism, the narcotics, the trash, huge quality of life issues. We are not tolerating that lawlessness. I'm going to put that out there first and foremost. The homelessness is not a crime. The criminal behavior that we already have laws for on the books is a crime. We are here to address both. On a daily basis, I probably contact 20 to 30 homeless people. Almost all of them will turn down services to get into shelters, to get into rehab. They will have nothing going on for them, and I will say, right now, I will drive you to rehab, friend. I will get you clean. And it's, oh man, you know, Mr. Seitz, I'm not ready. I have a lot going on with their cart of things, right? And so I get it. It's the fear of withdrawals that's terrifying to them. And so we do offer as much as we can to get them off the street, get them the help to get back into society and recontribute. But when they don't want to accept that, then the criminal aspect comes into place. If you don't want to accept the helping hand, then I am going to have to go to enforcement and be that jail, citations. Not always will I come out and put cuffs on someone and take them to jail. Sometimes it is a citation, and that's just based on a misdemeanor or felony crime on the laws that the voters have enacted. So we do our best with that, and so just for the brevity of time, and so that people can meet offline, if anyone has any homeless related questions, me or my sergeant, Jason Winkle, would be happy to take those from you now. Sure.
So if the homeless in our area have a common business offenders, and we're aware that they have multiple points now towards the magic number of 10, how can we help you know they're drunk in public or they're offending, grossly peeing and pooping on the sidewalk over here? How do we educate our community to know? Because at 10, my understanding is you've got to arrest them and take them to jail, and they have to post bail, right?
So we work with the DA, Ron Lithicum, with that CNO program for these chronic nuisance offenders. And at that point, at that 10 or better misdemeanor or felony arrests in a calendar year, they do go into jail and they face prosecution with Ron or the live-in treatment for rehab to get off drugs. And very often they'll go, yes, please, I want the treatment, as opposed to a year in jail.
You know, it's amazing how many people faced with jail all of a sudden take up the offer of getting treatment out of jail. So we use that as a tool to do it. I would say that the way that the citizens help is just be vigilant, be aware. So if they're on your property and they're trespassing and you've done a notice of trespass and they've come back, that's a crime. You need to call that in, get a deputy out there to issue a citation. That's one way. Some of the businesses here locally, I've been aware that some businesses will see thieves come in, take their merchandise, even when the sheriff catches them, they will say, oh, we just want our stuff back, we don't want to press charges. Wrong answer. Wrong answer. We need to press charges. We need to do our part. We need to help the deputies. Everybody wants to complain about law enforcement, but I can tell you, I'm out with the community a lot. We have to do our part. The citizenry has to back these officers who are out there doing such a good job.
Deputy District Attorney Ron Lithicum, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you. And by the way, I wanted to say, we have a new captain, and Leandra is here, and she's trying to be incognito. Leandra, but what are you now, a chief?
Something, yeah.
But Leandra's a big shot, and I want to tell you, I've had the pleasure of working with Leandra when she was not a big shot, and even when she was a lieutenant, she was out there working and kicking butt. So thank you for coming, and yeah, appreciate you. So,
sure.
Any questions? I'm here for you.
Thank you. So is a citizen's arrest, if I sign it, does it count as a citation?
Yes.
Yes, any misdemeanor or better. If you are the victim of a crime and you want to press charges for that, like someone trespassing on your property, you know, someone that was out all night, be it they're high, drunk or something, and they pass out on your front porch. I see it happen. Someone goes out to go to work and there is someone curled up on their front porch. They should not be there. You can choose to press charges. You would call patrol because it's an active crime in progress. You would call the non-emergency number. Now, if they're pounding on your door trying to get in, like Brian described earlier, that's an emergency, right? That's a threat to the threshold of your home. Call 911. That is a high priority call, but someone asleep is asleep. So it would be a non-emergency call. We would come out and say, yeah, I want to press charges against this person for trespassing. So there's a few options with trespassing. You can just, hey, I don't want anything done. I want the person advised to leave. I don't want you guys to do that because that gets us nowhere closer to that 10 count to get these people off of drugs and get them the help they're refusing to do. So there's two other options that I want you to think about. That one, just throw it out, even though lawfully it is your choice. The other one is a notice of trespass, where if they're actively on your business property, if you own a business here in California, first off, God bless you for paying the taxes that you do in California. And second, you should ask for a notice of trespass for these people on your business. Running a business here is hard enough already without homeless people encroaching upon it and committing, like I can't remember who said it, defecating on the property. That's no fun. I wouldn't want to clean that up. So you can ask.
What happens to a defense attorney's?
Yes, ma'am.
Press charges, okay?
Okay.
So what if you're threatened at the, our calls in our area have gone unanswered in emergencies, even to us, which is an emergency being threatened, okay? But you guys don't respond because you are someplace else because there's something else more, you know,
So,
more important. So
again,
this is why we don't.
No, actually,
After,
can I answer this?
really
Because
quick, if I may.
Well, I have some experience with this.
Oh, good,
Bye. He's faster than me. I'll let him go.
Here's the thing. We did do an undercover operation on that particular property. We had ABC go in, citations were issued. I think we solved the first owner. Now they sold to a different owner. So what are the chances that you get back-to-back bad owners? But we have to unfortunately start anew. So you're right. Noise complaints are going to be low priority. These guys are going call to call, and they're dealing with really dangerous individuals. This is more of a North Pop type of thing, where we can work on it long-term and try to figure out a strategy to get this new owner. I think we should go out and talk to the new owner, that's what we did last time, and then that didn't work, so then we did the undercover thing, and that did work.
And
So,
then they sold.
yeah, then they sold.
I gave them my card and my number.
Okay, so let's work long-term on this one to see if we can do it. By all means, if you're threatened or there's a noise complaint, still call the sheriff, and they'll get out there as best they can. And they do, if a call went in, they do respond, I will say that. They
Yes,
do
but
respond.
you guys are so spread out, and there's so few of you. When you guys go downtown Sacramento, all the way to Tulsa, and to Elk Grove, there's that time in the middle, especially when you're single and alone in your home, that you are panicked.
Yeah.
Because, okay, I called it in, they're going to come over and they're gonna beat me up, or they're gonna do something bad.
Yeah.
And they can climb my fence and I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, things like that, so you can't expect a single person or elderly people to do this. They're gonna
Exactly.
turn their
That's
back
why
on
leave it to us. Leave it to us. And Brian, you've got Brian's card. We'll work on this.
But the
We will work on
restaurant
it.
has never stopped.
But
You
we're
say
not
it's
talking about
resolved?
the-
Well, no, I didn't say that. I
And it
said
is
that we
an
forced
arrangement, it is bad for me.
we forced the
Neighbors don't
first
care
owner
about
to
it,
sell.
but I do.
What was that?
Because it's mine. Neighbors don't care that there's an operating restaurant there. I hear it every
I know,
single
I know.
night.
I know. These
And
are,
every night, the lights are bright in my windows. Restaurants, neighbors say that's irrelevant. We don't talk about that now. That's not an issue. It is for me. I live it.
I think it is an issue, but that's why we work on it as a project. Okay, so let us have a chance to work on it. The previous owner sold because we did a very complex operation to go in there, have undercover officers go in
And
and,
the restaurant continued. It
no,
has never
no.
stopped.
Well, no, it's a new owner. Okay, all right.
So we'll have to get together afterwards and actually look at the CAD history and calls and stuff like that, because,
My binder, I have all, I've got all
Yeah,
the
that's-
references from.
but
people
if
from
I was in your state and seat and still had hair and dealing with you, I'd be pulling it out. So, I feel you, but any other homeless related stuff?
Well, maybe homeless too. What happens if you're in your home, I don't like guns, and I don't like weapons. If somebody comes into my home with a gun or with a knife threatening to stab me, and I do have a gun or a knife, can I defend myself?
Under the law, you have a right of self-defense.
Yeah.
Yes,
Have a lawyer.
especially in your home.
Yeah, because I mean, nowadays,
Don't shoot them in the back.
Don't become the aggressor.
Yeah, we all have the right of self-defense.
Don't chase them down.
Sure.
Homeless.
Yes.
So you guys got ground zero cleared up. I see it's evolving.
So
again.
I will give credit to the folks that couldn't join us today, the park rangers, that's their jurisdiction. We happily go along with them when they ask us to help clean up areas. We've gone and helped them before, but they did recently go out and do some hard work clearing it up. I'll pass along that you noticed a difference to them when I see them next.
So that's the park ranger
Yes, ma'am.
jurisdiction. What about along the bike trail?
I was gonna say. it's
Again, the
like-
park rangers.
Same thing.
Yes.
Where's the park
Yeah.
ranger?
Because our bike trails are not safe.
I'll address that real quick. The reason the park rangers aren't here is because I didn't invite them.
No.
It's that simple.
You guys aren't friends, huh?
No, we are. We're friends. We work with them a bunch, and I apologize for that. I was thinking more along the lines of law enforcement that shows up to your house, and that was literally the reason why. But next time, per request, I'll ask for them, and I'll try to get animal control here. But be patient with animal control. You think someone's short-handed, animal control. You're gonna try calling 311 for them. So next time, we'll have another one in 3-4 months, okay? And I will reach out to them and make sure I at least invite them, okay?
Well, is it true that if it is what's considered parks, then it's only the rangers who call for homelessness that's going on there? Like she said, the bike trail. You know, you don't
Yes,
want a bike trail.
we would not respond to their jurisdiction for complaints of homelessness. That would be their jurisdiction to handle. Just like how they don't come into the county to handle the calls for homelessness, we go out to those. It's just, jurisdictional lines drawn by people that probably get a larger paycheck than I do, and I just kind of play within my bounds.
Then I guess they really should be here because what they do is
100%.
pawn it off on you with frauds. And what it does is this frustrates us, the homeowners, who are our homeowners.
And I'm sorry that you're dealing with that frustration. I would feel frustrated also. And so like Brian said, next time we reach out to them so that you can hear it from them directly and you can pass those complaints along.
If they show.
Yeah.
Because I've called things in and I've been passed to 4 different agencies and they're like, oh, that's not ours, go here and then go here.
I can address that real quick if you like. So, I work overtime at the comp center. Okay, they're very, you think, we're talking about shorthanded, I could go there any time of the day or night and they'll accept me. They're very shorthanded. People there though do an amazing job. I've seen them talk, I've heard them talk to people on the worst day of their life. You think you've had a worse day in your life, these guys have had knives to their own throat. It's horrible and they talk, but they're wonderful human beings. The trick about this is though is that jurisdictional boundary. Now within this, if it's on the roadway, we're gonna pass you right on to CHP. If there's a weird, if you look at our map, Sac PD, Sac Sheriff overlaps like this little gap here, but over here it's the Sac PD, but right here it's the sheriff, and then over here it's the airport, and then right here it's Roseville, but if you go right here, now it's Citrus Heights, and that right there is one of those things we have to designate the call for service to that place. It's been that way ever since the creation, that's why.
They don't know.
So if we map it, that's another thing, when we map it and it pops up, an address pops up in this particular spot, it's very easy for us to know. And so, please still call in. It's very important that it calls in, because we still document it. So, I know it's frustrating, we could talk more later about it, but it's just the way it is. And go ahead, I'm sorry, you've been raising your hand forever.
So, this leads me to ask, are you guys ever going to consider boundary drops instead of mutual aid and automatic aid? Because the fire department, we don't have boundaries anymore. We just automatically, the closest unit goes to the closest call.
So,
That's not totally accurate. The fire department still has, Sac City Fire and Sacramento Fire still are gonna respond to different locations. So, and same thing with Consumnes River. If you called in a car accident that was in Consumnes River's jurisdiction,
The closest
yep.
fire engine and medic that's available to that accident goes, and it doesn't matter which department it comes from.
Well, it depends on the nature of the call. Law enforcement officers, if it's an emergency 911, will do that. But things that are jurisdictionally, like a homeless camp, then obviously we want the sheriff to handle their jurisdiction. You understand the distinction between a homeless camp. That's not a life and death emergency. And you're right, this is an issue that we all face. All of us have this between Sac PD. We also have thrown in Union Pacific Police. And that's some of the things that we help with the POP team. We figure that out, and we bring in all of our partners, including CHP sometimes. CHP helps us a lot with Caltrans. So this is unfortunately just sort of the nature of having different law enforcement agencies. But we will address it. If you send it to NORPOC, we'll figure it out. We will figure it out and get back and tell you how to navigate those jurisdictions.
So what you're saying is that you have a level of service call.
Yeah.
And so if it's a high priority, the closest units respond.
That's my understanding. Am I right, Steve?
If it's a priority 1 call with a shooting, a stabbing, or someone's being abducted, you will get whether it be, we have 4 districts within North, you'll have if someone from District 2, you're gonna have everybody roll from all the districts.
Yeah.
And again, fire they have boundaries, and like, again, they have this.
We have boundaries, but everything we do is pretty much priority.
And some of these things are quality of life issues that, like, hey, we wish, go to Sioux Cross, like, have a voice. You guys are great, you're voicing your concerns. Like, we would love to have 400 more cops, 400 more records officers. Like, we would love to have 200 more RONs. Like, and again, we're in a better place than like the city is right now. Like, we're enforcing the laws that are affecting you guys. And again, we're doing we are busting our butt to do the best thing that we can with the tools and resources we have.
Well, let me give a plug
And
to
that's
Sheriff
all we
Cooper,
can use.
because it has been a dramatic difference. Brian here, he's only 25 years old. He was actually was the only homeless outreach officer for the county, and Paul was the only sergeant, Paul Jabali. And look at him, he's actually 25, but it's a very stressful thing. Now what, we have 8, 9 guys? So it's fully staffed, and Sheriff Cooper has really done a great job to say this is a priority. And these guys have done a great job. Has everybody noticed a difference? Community-wide? Tell me, have you noticed a difference? I can say that I go all over the North County and people have said, what a difference since we are fully staffed. And these guys are out there every day moving camps, citing people. I'm busy in court, let me tell you, because of their work.
And it's really weird. It's simple. It's all we're doing is arresting people, and it's kind of weird that that's been not what has been the norm for a long time. So, again, we will continue to directly address quality of life issues. And again, we're great partners with CHP, DA's office, and again, you got to give us a minute. But we're balancing 100 different things, but we're here for you guys.
So why hasn't the recruiting been up? CHP.
I can they got behind because of COVID, right, Leandra?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So good evening all. My name's Leandra Marquez. I'm the Assistant Sheriff. I'm here on behalf of Sheriff Jim Cooper. I've been with this agency since 1995. I'm a lateral from City PD. I grew up on Rose Street in the Heights, so I'm very familiar with this area. It's dear to me. So just to give you a little background on hiring. So during COVID, we lost a lot of personnel, as a lot of jobs did. I mean, retirements came up, laws have changed. So one thing, first and foremost, I want to encourage all of you to do, be familiar with Proposition 47. If you're asking yourselves the questions on why a lot of things have changed and arrests haven't been made, prosecutions, people being held accountable for their crimes, Proposition 47 duped people into thinking it was something that it wasn't. So follow that, because right now it's looking to potentially be repealed, but it requires a lot of signatures, a lot of verifications of signatures. It's an enormous process that our former DA Anne-Marie is really pushing, Anne-Marie Schubert, to overcome, and it's going to take a lot of money. As I was told by Sheriff Cooper, what used to be about $2 per signature for verification is now approximately $7 just to get signatures verified, and that includes the ones that are not good signatures. So we actually need about double the amount to get it back on the ballot to try to have that repealed. So getting into staffing, during COVID, you know, a lot of people think things changed, the laws changed. I mean, for officers getting to a point of, you know, what do I do here? I have the opportunity to retire, or am I going to continue in a job that is anti-cop? I mean, we went through a terrible phase for a period of time that you're all aware of defunding and so forth, where a lot of people saw a better quality of life, a more affordable quality of life to retire and even move out of state. We lost a lot of people to that. Right now we're sitting about 103 vacancies in sworn personnel. We have about 100 non-sworn, our support staff. And every time we're making progress, you know, it's attrition. We hire people that go all the way through the academy and tell you, man, I'm ready to go, and then a few weeks into their job, oh, this is scary. I'm getting paid a lot of money, but it's scary. It's a different generation of people. I hate to keep making reference to generational, but we do have a lot of those challenges. We have young people, a lot of young people still living at home because, for obvious reasons, they can't afford to get out on their own, but then getting a good paying job and realizing what they're facing with regard to, you know, getting out of their comfort zone. You know, we're facing challenges, for lack of a better term. So I would say for every 100 applications that we receive for sworn personnel, there's probably between 4 to 6 that are truly viable candidates that can pass a background. I mean, and I'll tell you, a lot of the reasons that people fail out of backgrounds, I mean, criminal history, and that's extreme criminal history, lying, lying's the #1 reason. People put things on paper that are absolute nonsense, and when it comes down to taking a polygraph and all the other background checks that go into it, people have done some really bad things that they're trying to conceal for a variety of reasons. I mean, maybe they did change because they've grown up and gotten older. We do take that into account, but oftentimes, you know, there's a nefarious side to people looking to get into this line of work for their own personal gain and power. So, you know, a lot of laws have changed for us. Everything's scrutinized for law enforcement now, and we're always under the gun, under a lot of scrutiny to do the right thing, as we should always be expected to do, but laws have changed and made our jobs more difficult. So for a lot of people looking toward a job like this, why do that when I could go work for the family business or go do other things? So we're working every single day. I sit on interview panels religiously. I was just at the academy for 2 separate sessions of entertaining 40+ people in each session to come and take a tour of our academy. So first and foremost, I want to put out there, how many of you follow our social media and what the sheriff's office puts out there? So if you don't, please do that. I know people may say, well, you know, I'm not into Facebook or Instagram or whatever, but if you have an option to do that, take a look at it, because it's going to give you a very real picture of our sheriff and our officers and our people and what we've been doing this last year. Again, I've been here a long time, but I want you to know the reason I chose to stay, new sheriff coming to town. I was asked, would you stay here and be another, you know, part of my team to make things better, because things had degraded. A lot of things went undone. I'm not knocking on old administration. It was just sign of the times, and it was time for a change. So some of the things that our sheriff is really pushing, you know, we just talked about the homeless issue. If you saw the statistics of what we are citing, what we are arresting, again, we're not looking for unsheltered people and you know, those that choose not to take help. We're looking for people that are breaking the law. It's unacceptable. Our sheriff is big into human trafficking. He's having no toleration of our children, our community's children, being sex trafficked. So that's first and foremost. We've been doing a lot of operations for retail theft. We just had a new post today of another huge arrest we made. We got a significant retail theft grant, so we're out and about. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you all of the things that we've got our fingers in, and it's the floodgates have opened, and we're doing our best to keep it moving forward. But first and foremost, for all of you that talk, and I understand your frustration of, hey, I didn't get a cop, or a cop didn't come. I want to preface your issue with saying something like, I'd like a return call from the officer. Have them call me back. I'd like to speak to a patrol commander or supervisor. Continue doing that. The reason I encourage you to keep calling rather than saying, geez, I'm frustrated, sick of calling, we crime stat all of that. We have analysts within our department, so when we start looking for areas to focus on, our hot spots, and where we're going to deploy our resources for problem-oriented policing issues, as well as the hot issues, we're looking at our stats. So, you know, for people that don't call and feel that, well, you'll never show up, it's recorded. Trust me, I go through all of our CAD calls every morning and the emails that I receive for a lot of what's considered the hot calls, and I look personally at all of the calls I have received to know, you know, what transpired, how did things go, who's the latest suspect, what's the latest crime stat. This man here, who's your new commander for North Patrol, just came out of centralized investigations, having done a phenomenal job when it came to homicides, a lot of high-risk things, sex assaults. So don't let him fool you. He's been a little quiet here, but I'm telling you, the man's capable of doing a lot of things, and there are a lot of good things to come for your area. So we hear what you're saying. I know you're frustrated, but please know that we care, and we're going to do the best we can moving forward to keep improving things. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say thank you. I have a business here on M Street. I have cameras that I watch 24/7. They wake me up all night. I scare people off. But there has not been one time that I called the non-emergency number, no matter what time of night, that the sheriff has not showed up within 10 minutes and dealt with the problem, from arresting, removing them from my property, whatever it was. There's not been one time, and I don't want people on my property at night. I don't care what they're doing, I don't want them on my property at night. And so whether it's 2 a.m. or 5 a.m. or, 11 o'clock, I've not had one time. So I appreciate, I know a lot of people say they don't get a response, but I've never not gotten one, and I'm watching my camera, waiting for the response, because I'm gonna see what these people are doing, and it's less than 10 minutes every time.
I'm impressed.
1 minute. Can I address something real quick? You have the homeless outreach team flag. Could we get one? If you get on there, you go to the website and you click on it, there's a letter of agency. Can you look into that? I think that might help out your business. Okay? So you had a question for
Yeah, I had a question for the CHP officer.
Yes, sir.
Can we expect to see more of these large-scale events, activities like we saw in San Joaquin County? And more specifically, can we see more of that in Sacramento County? It seems like I see enforcement activities happening in Alameda County, in San Joaquin County. I really like the one I see in San Joaquin County. And I like the Facebook or the YouTube that the San Joaquin County Sheriff put out this morning saying, hey, stop calling. We're not going to give you your cars. It was the greatest thing. But I'm hoping we can see more of that in Sacramento County.
So, and we do actually run operations. Normally it goes in about 4 different spots. It'll go, how about Arden? Then it goes into South Sacs area, down off I-5, that new shopping center, the Shores or whatever it's called.
Delta Shores.
And then they always end up by Amazon and the airport. And they bounce around to different areas. Normally the ones in Rio Linda, you might get 50 to 100 cars. We'll have 500 at the other ones. They can't get that many cars out here. That's why you guys won't get the super big ones. When we've caught people that were out here, there's been about 3 different times. They're all from Marysville and Yuba City. They're not even from Sacramento. They drive down the 99, and then they come out and do stupid stuff and win stupid prizes. So, but the real big ones, they're constantly moving. They don't just go to one spot, and they know we're coming before we get there normally. And like I said, we do the best we can with them and with what we got, but sometimes it'll be 300 cars and there's 4 police going because everybody else is on calls.
You guys aren't using drones?
Well, there is a limitation with drones, and that's with the FAA, that you have to have a pilot flying it, and you have to have what's called a visual observer, someone on the ground who can see the drone and ensure it's not hitting a power line. So there's a huge limitation between the range of that little handheld controller and how far that person can see it. That coupled with these the sideshows happening at night, that visual observer has a very limited scope of vision on that, and they have to be out there ahead of time. The Sheriff's Office itself has an evolving drone program, things like that, with things that they're looking into to have responses in the future that they could avoid having a visual observer. But as the target is moving with laws and FAA and the evolution of drones, that's something that's still being researched. But it is a thought with the Sheriff's Office at the very least, and I can probably ensure that CHP, being a bigger agency, is thinking about that too.
But to answer your question, yes, we are going to do targeted operations. And so there's investigators, that's all they do. They have these fake accounts on social media, and they're friends with the people that do that. That's like somebody was saying earlier, that's the only way we find out. If it's just word of mouth, a bunch of friends, if they're at bike night on Thursday nights at How About Arden, hey everybody, tomorrow let's go, whatever, and they never put it on social media, we're not gonna get it until somebody falls in.
Yeah.
So.
What about putting roundabouts on these major intersections?
So that's a Department of
county
Transportation
thing.
thing.
I was gonna say, that's a different-
And if you've driven down, it's a Department of Transportation, so that entity manages the roadways. And then they would have to find someone to come out and look at it, some engineer, put plans, get paid, all that stuff. It's not out of the norm, but that is something that we can address afterwards. There's a gentleman here that works with SUPA, so that unfortunately is not we don't have the powers to address that. We can send it off, but changing the roadway that much is way different than us trying to get someone to paint a red curb and put up a no stopping sign. So it's not impossible, but this form right now is unfortunately not the one. Go ahead. I was going to point him out in the background. This gentleman actually has.
question is, if we call in, we have to give our name.
Not
We have to
necessarily.
give our address. If we don't, they will not, they obviously cannot, call back to confirm that they've been by. So when we give our name, which is a fear of retaliation.
Of course.
Do they ever get our name for having called them in?
No.
It's redacted.
Okay, and the reason I asked,
They're fine, they come.
okay, well, that's why I asked, I didn't know. So that's why I asked, because there's a house down on 24th, I think it's 6810. They have parties at least once a month, and in the summer, it's every weekend. And they have built a huge, a humongous barn.
It's a new venue that
I mean, it's
they, illegal
huge.
venue running out there. I know that because I'm an event coordinator, so it's a huge event program
Yes.
they put out there. It's totally illegal, but they've been holding big weddings, big.
Yeah,
So
and the
the-
sheriff won't do anything, is what they say.
So there's.
We can't do anything if you don't, like, again, you have to get with the people who have that, like, patrol, hold on. Patrol officer who goes out there, he doesn't understand or know what to do. Like, those are stuff, like, coming to these community meetings and getting the right people or people involved.
Thank you.
I asked you, I talked to you earlier,
Yes.
just give us a chance, and I promise you.
Oh,
like,
I will, I will.
Hold on. Ma'am.
Go, Jeannie.
No, Jeannie's gonna wait just one second. There's two things there, okay? Let's address your call to the communication center. Again, I know the lieutenant out there, he's a great guy.
I'm a,
He's good. No, what we can do is we can communicate with him. And then what he can do is communicate with his staff. Hey, this is that the community's feeling. Can we, as a team of call takers and dispatchers, address it a little different? Okay, we can make that call, and then he can, there's a lot of new people there. So maybe if you have a fear of not giving it and that person might say something or that makes you more hesitant to call, we can just simply address it. You should be able to call. You should feel safe in your house. No one should give your information. The deputy should. No one should. And that's right.
love that word.
Oh, they should not. Okay. So, but give us a chance. We'll address
I
it.
can say that they don't.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
like when crime reports go out, your information is redacted, your phone number,
We've
your
been told
address.
there's a cartel issue by
There-
now.
Everyone says that, and it's just like the rape thing that was here. It's the pass the note, and they're not factual. Like, our information, the sheriff's
Thank
office
you.
is not giving your information out to a bad guy or anybody else.
Okay.
Not.
And the venue thing, just like what we talked about with the restaurant, we can work on it. You have my personal email and you have my number. Again, shoot all that to me. We'll communicate.
I'm hearing big issues.
I understand, but some of this stuff takes a minute. But we gotta know about it. We gotta look into it. We gotta grab different entities that we need to help out. So give us a call, okay? Give us a shot. I see a couple hands. I'm not sure who raised it.
Can I just ask?
But yeah, go
It
ahead.
may sound tedious, but, when someone has either taken all the wheels off their car, or it's a stolen car, maybe in parked somewhere, or not registered, and I get it, you have more important things to do than worry about somebody.
We have a parking unit.
But if you're parked on a
They're just not
city
here.
street or parked whatever, and it's sitting there and it's bashed in window, whatever, it's an eyesore, and you call to complain about it, how long does it take for it to be towed, and who's the department to tow it? And, because those cars can sit there for months.
Just
Report it to us.
I've tried all.
So we have a parking unit within the sheriff's department, and if you call, say there's a parking thing, it'll go into their queue. They'll show up and investigate. I don't know what the answer is. Each car has a different story. Highway Patrol has the same thing. So call both.
I get a lot of cars from.
Looks like there's a parking enforcement flyer in the back with.
Oh, does anyone know, so we will get, I know your hand's up. Anyone have the 311 app on your phone?
Oh, yeah.
The orange one or the blue one?
Orange.
Orange. It's the orange one for the county.
Wait, then maybe mine's sitting.
Got a green one.
As of when?
I tried on my.
Downloaded it over a month ago.
Tell
It
them
is
it's
no
green.
longer available to the people that have it, or they have it, but you cannot download it anymore.
Is that Apple, Android, all of them?
Android.
Android?
Right here, right? Orange.
Yeah, I can get the blue one.
Not everybody likes
Okay.
Apple, this costs
So-
just as much.
That's a technical issue. We'll look into it, okay? if you happen to have that app and you go through it, one of the things you can request is on there, you know, parking issue. It'll allow you to take a photo of it. It'll geo-map you. So there was no question on where that photo was taken, and when the deputy, CHP officer, the parking enforcement officer shows up, they look at your phone and they, oh, that's clearly the car. So that's one route.
Orange one just downloaded right now, so it's available.
Okay, cool, maybe it's available this second.
Yeah, I just put it on my tablet.
Yes, sir. It did? Okay, cool, maybe it's got fixed. Does it work now? Sometimes you gotta turn those things off and back on, you know?
There's a QR code on here on my phone, and you can ask Android to make sure that your phone matches whatever that QR code. These are brand new, we just got these in, so it could be that maybe it was an old QR code and it no longer works, but these are the most current ones. Yes, we have some more in the back, if you can grab one, put them there.
That's another great way to, if there's a big pile of trash on the roadway or whatever, if there's graffiti, there's potholes, all those things, it takes seconds to just, like, when I was working, I would slow down, take the photo, and email it off, and I would keep, I know it's probably a technical infraction, but
You're
it worked out
standing
real
next
well.
to a CHP officer.
They're busy with 500 car sideshows.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So when you said that the cars are getting impounded, how long are you keeping these cars before
30 days.
they are allowed to get? And then what is the process that these people have to go through to get their cars back?
So you get signed, it's a court order, because you go to a judge, you get it signed as a warrant for the car. And so you'll take it for 30 days, but then they have to pay the impound.
But as for holding the drivers accountable for it, like.
If we can prove who the driver is, a lot of times all we get is a plate and a car. And so then, they have a lot better tools than we got, so they'll put the plates in for us.
So is holding the registered owner to the car, is that not possible? Like regardless if they're the driver or not?
We're taking, what we're writing the warrant for is that car is a nuisance and a danger to the public the way it's being driven. So if we can't prove who it is, because I'm not gonna lie, most time they have their windshields tinted, the sides tinted, you can't see who the driver is anymore. So if we can just get the plate.
The registered owner doesn't mean anything? I mean, like.
Can you prove it was the registered owner is the problem?
Well, why can't you hold them accountable? I mean, just because
How
somebody
can
else.
I can only work
No,
within the laws.
so for us, in our circumstance, because we watch them singly, they'll get out and videotape somebody else driving the car.
Which is
I
also
can get a picture
illegal.
of that person, because they'll drive, they're sitting on the side, like, while it's spinning around, they're sitting on the side of the window. I can get pictures and videos of all of this. So if I have that, how do I get that to you so you can hold that person accountable?
I'll give you an email that state's email is not gonna let you do a whole bunch, but you can get in contact with us and we can somehow get the video.
And having talked with a lot of tow truck drivers, those fees after a 30-day hold and going to court can be over $3,000. So if me, the registered owner of my sports car, goes, hey, Brian, go have fun, this is gonna be super cool, and then CHP takes my cool sports car that I let him drive, I'm gonna be pretty pissed off because I have to pay $3 grand to get my car out when he had the good time. So the registered owner is being held accountable by, in a capitalist society, just kind of hitting them really hard in the pocketbook. After having to pay to get your car out 2-3 times, I mean, who has $9 grand that goes to sideshows?
What is the
Mike does.
Evidently they have enough, because they always buy the tires.
But and there is other tricks that we play. So if they did a sideshow in Rio Linda, we get that info, we write a warrant for the car. Well, then SAC PD, let's say, had the same car acting like an idiot down in their jurisdiction. Well, then about the time that 30 days is up, then we'll stick that other one on there and hold it for an additional amount of time. So there is ways to get around it, but we need the information. And it's not that we don't want to go after the driver, and it's not that we don't want to go after the registered owner or whoever's responsible. But all of us up here, we have to work within the constraints of the
Are
laws
most
that
of
we're.
these drivers, are they over 18, are they under 30? What is the, I mean, are these?
Ranges, they're normally,
These
they're.
are parents' cars that are piloted?
Sometimes you'll get a rich kid. His parents just bought him a new Challenger that he pumped up or something. But normally they're out of high school. The high school kids are the ones that think it's cool to watch. and then they don't think it's cool when they're getting a misdemeanor ticket for watching, or if they're underage, you gotta call their parents to come pick them up, so.
You guys tow cars with no insurance, right off the bat? We cite them?
What, you cite them?
If you were to pull somebody over, they didn't have insurance, do this shit.
There's no applicable section to tow it for.
Citing it.
Citing it, yes.
You mentioned the blackout windows on the driver's room.
Yes, that's illegal.
Is that illegal?
Yes.
You cannot put anything.
What's the word illegal mean anymore?
It's California, nothing.
Was there anybody held accountable? Did you guys arrest anybody that, for that 7-Eleven who broke the windows and was walking out stealing ice cream, all sorts of crap? Was anybody actually arrested?
I'd have to look into that.
Are you talking about the one that was on the media?
Yes. So there were some people arrested?
They were actually charged for robbery.
Good.
Do you know how many?
I don't, if I gave you a number, I think I'd be off, but I know at least one, you know?
I don't know.
I know at least one person was.
Okay.
And again, they may be arrested, but I've seen that through, that's a struggle to charge robbery when you're eating it, you know, having a Modelo and some, you know, cookies.
Well, okay, one question.
And to go back on the 7-Eleven, the business owner initially didn't want it, was uncooperative. I don't want to press charges. So,
Really?
That's a majority of what we deal with.
and
Then they deserve it, I'm sorry.
well, because you got to look at it. They have insurance. Everything's going to get fixed. They'll probably get nicer, newer stuff. And then at the end of the day, those same people who are buying stuff are going to come back who are robbing stuff. Again, it's just a circle of not holding people accountable for doing stupid shit.
So, I understand, but I requested the room for just so long, and so, okay, Jeannie gets one more. After we can wrap up. We'll all be around. We can talk to you individually instead of one question. You can grab one of us. Multiple questions can be answered at the same time. Ma'am, go ahead.
I just want to say that I've been working with Ron Lithicon and POP for 4 years. We solved the first one after 2 years, and then we got the new owners. And then right after they started partying, I called again, and I CC'd the sheriff, POP, and Ron. Every time I did anything, I CC'd everyone. And in June of 2023 was the last time I had to call you guys, because it quit.
Excellent.
The noise level did. Not the restaurant, not the porta potties, none of that other stuff. But the level of the noise just stopped.
Wonderful.
So
give us opportunities, there's avenues, right? We just gotta look into the avenues. Look, a lot of the times these problems are me knocking on a door that I never knocked on before. Okay, I know a lot of people, that know a lot of people, those people know a lot of people. We're all about making this happen, and I'll knock on every door.
as a community, we shouldn't be afraid to knock on doors. Because I will literally go down my street.
Oh, I was saying hypothetically knocking on doors and seeing people.
Part of the problem is people are afraid.
I agree.
I have trouble on my street, but we go over to town, we're not messing with you, we're not dealing with this. Keep your cars off our damn street, you know, we're classy over here, we're not accepting. You know, I'll share it, I don't care, you know. I know they're doing drugs, I know what they're doing at their house, they don't want your problems.
But
But we'll go knock on the door and tell them, it's too loud, quiet it down.
That's a great way, because again, you may not know what you don't know, maybe your kids or something, holding people at a low level and just addressing face to face, then there's not and it may just be addressed directly instead of this. No, and I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, hey, start at a low level before, and when it gets to us, they call us, that's what we're here for.
So, again, I wanna thank you all for coming.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be here for a little bit longer as well. I don't know, I have to look into that one, maybe. Honestly, with this particular form, it's law enforcement level, people that are out with boots on the ground. I don't know if that's really appropriate for it. The rangers I can see, animal control I can see, but environmental health, they count a lot of beans in that office, I'm sure. Okay? All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.